We just went through spring forward, so you'll have to excuse me. I feel like I'm still living in an extension of yesterday, like it's just one long trip that keeps going. But I finally feel like I'm able to talk about this, having had an experience last night which nailed in the coffin on this subject. And let me paint the picture for you. So I drive part-time for Uber, just to make a few extra funds, and I picked up a 40-year-old financial consultant that was headed to a wedding with his girlfriend. However, half the way there, he was complaining about his work schedule on Monday. Obviously, this guy hated his life. He was flying out of town and his flights were being moved around, and yet he just kept looking at his phone the whole time, not being present. And so these types of people, I like to, egg them a little bit. Just rough it around the edges, give it a little tug. And so he became defensive with me, obviously. His ego and his persona were so heavily tied into his occupation in this snobby culture where everyone judges people what they do. He was so tightly wound up with this occupation that any slight joke I made at him, he would basically act as if I'm the enemy, and he would promote arguments and actually entice me for not finishing the argument because claiming I don't like to have discussions, which is totally untrue. So the ride ends with him slamming the door and calling me an asshole. And this is a 40-year-old guy. On side note, maybe I noticed this much more with men in their late 30s, 40s. It's like maybe they've come back from a kick in their early 30s and feeling like they got to overcompensate for their value or something. I don't know what's going on, the way they were raised, but I generally notice like my generation, millennials, we get the older people because like we've endured so much in the past 10 years trying to survive a bankrupted economy, and we don't see the value of over glorifying yourself. This is a call for spirituality. How can you go through life just having a girlfriend, losing a girlfriend, having a job, losing a job, and these are all just material items? You have to develop an inner sense of spirituality. There has to be a longer term understanding of all this, or lack thereof understanding, something you can't explain with words that would put your mind at ease, because you can't live like that all the time. And evidently you can't. This guy was overweight, had circles under his eyes, it didn't look good. People tell me, oh, you look young and I'm jealous for your job. I chose that. I chose these things. I deliberately make things less complicated on myself, because in the grand scheme of things, when I wake up and I'm 70, I want to have said I have lived a spiritual life in the sense that there was things that I couldn't explain. I wanted to benefit people, and I had a purpose that exceeded the material gain of items and money. That doesn't, you can't take any of this shit with you when you go, like I said before. So that was just one example of the current moment where we can all strive to be just a little bit more mindful of the totality of the situation, looking at it from a pinpoint magnifying view over hundreds of thousands of years, but meanwhile still being present in the moment, understanding what your partner or friend is saying to you or what you want to pursue in life. It's important. Secondly, another disturbing observation is the lack of attention that the media has given climate change. I think a report came out saying something like it was only given like 4 hours of airtime on national public TV. And so people just aren't aware. And when you are aware, I don't mean to turn into another vegan, or someone that's above everyone else, because I'm not. I'm pissed, really, that these parents are having children, more children, and they're putting their kids into the vehicles that are bringing about their own demise. How can you honestly have kids not want the entirely best for them? And I know why. It's because of ego. It's the same reason I was born. And I had to come to terms with that. It wasn't easy. But I'm not that special after all. When I asked my father when and why and the details of when he started a family and when I came into existence, He gave me, the Cliff Notes version, obviously, what he could remember. But he said one very important thing. He said, I wanted to have a family. Keyword, I. Me. The construct of my image, of my life for me. That's not the point. When you have children, when you bring another being in existence into this world, it's about them. You are having a family for your children. It's not about you anymore. And so that's why I don't believe in religion. This is a guy who shoved a Bible down my throat growing up. I believe in spirituality. I believe in there's things that we can't explain, and that all the great books teach something about things we can't explain and how to live rightly and just in the world. There's things that I don't agree with in the Bhagavad Gita, and there's some things that I do. Forgive my pronunciation. But gosh, I don't know when people would just wake up. Maybe this virus is the thing that we needed. I don't know. I don't even know how to end this video. But I guess I'm asking for people to just spend 10 minutes by yourself and really deep dive into your conscious what you're doing. What is it all for? And maybe that might help clarify some of your behaviors and actions in the present moment, which would be more aligned with the benefit of you, others, and the ecology of the planet. That's my point. Okay? So here we go, 2 in a week. I got it out the way. I'm going to go drink some tea now and maybe try to exercise. So, have a great week. Talk to you next time.